All right, welcome back. And in this final video for exercise 1 on the Photoshop interface, we are going to be looking at how to take images and move them into a Photoshop document that you have open. So this is using existing images opened into Photoshop already, like we did in our previous video, and then taking them and placing them into an existing or another open document. So you can do this with your own project files, and again, I'll be working with the demo images for this particular video. So let's get started. First off, we want to identify what's what up on our bar up here, and you can notice everything has its own name, and they're all kind of scattered up here on the bar, so it's really kind of hard to see what we're doing and understand how we're supposed to move things around. We will be working with one specific panel on our panel side of the screen for this exercise of getting these images all consolidated into our actual new canvas we created. So to do that, we're going to go over here to the right side of the screen to our panels, and we're going to make sure that the panel at the bottom is up at the top is listed as layers, that this is the active panel down here. Layers inside of Photoshop, real quick overview. This area stores visual information for each canvas you have opened inside of Photoshop. And of course, as you recall from me discussing in a previous video, layers is the backbone of Photoshop. And it does give us the ability to stack multiple images together inside of a single canvas, which is what we'll be doing today as far as moving and consolidating everything so we don't have to have all of these separate tabs open to try to work back and forth in, which will make it impossible to do our work. We need to get everything together so that we can properly work on it inside of a single document. So to do that, what we're going to do is change the way that our tabs or these images are viewed on screen. So we're going to do that by going up to our top menu bar and clicking on Window. We're going to go to Arrange. And from Arrange, I'm going to go in here and use this option called Tile All Vertically. Okay. Now, once you hit Tile All Vertically, any images that you already have open into Photoshop on their own like this will suddenly appear in skinny slivers across the screen like this. Basically to give you the ability to see each canvas. The added benefit from moving images around is that it makes it incredibly easy to drag the entire image and move it across to an already open canvas. They must both be visible on screen if you want to move one image to somewhere else. Both of those canvases or image areas have to be visible like this. So that's why I have all of them tiled on screen vertically so it's easier to move. Now the way that we'll do this is I will work from the right side of the screen, so this first tab, and then I will go this way. And I will take the layer from inside of this image area and drag it over to my empty white document. Make sure you can identify in your tabs which one is your empty white doc that represents your new canvas that you created in the last part of this exercise in the last video. So here's mine, and again it should have your name on it if you did your naming correctly for your new document. And then I'm going to start over here on this side of the screen. Now yours may not have panned out like the same as this. If it did, great. If not, no big deal. But I'm going to start with this one that looks like a person. And I'm going to go to the layer panel, and I'm going to look at what images it shows listed down below that are associated with this particular canvas. So it shows me there's actually two listed here, a background and a background copy. Now for this particular image, it already has some editing work done to it, and rather than having to redo that all over again, I provided this image so you could have one that is ready-made for you. So you can kind of see how you can work with different types of files, maybe that you've already worked with in Photoshop. So we're going to grab this layer right here that's the background copy, so it shows a little thumbnail image of what's inside the layer, the original photo, and also this black and white image that's an outline that shows the cutout work made for this image. So I'm going to take this and click on the name and drag. Notice as I click and drag that the hand becomes a fist, and I'm going to pull it all the way across screen And notice as I pull it across these canvases that the canvas shows a white outline around its perimeter. That just indicates that you're passing over an active canvas, so you're able to drop it in any one of these as it has an active white background around it. But I'm going to go all the way over to my empty white one and drop it, or let off my mouse to release it. And there it drops it in. Now once you've done the first one, it's a good idea to go back and then turn off your old canvases as you go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this one by clicking the little X in the upper left corner of this canvas so as to get rid of it. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my next one. So I'm going to click on it or inside of it to highlight it. Go to my layer panel and I'm going to click on the layer name and drag to pull the layer. I'm going to drop it over here in my empty new canvas to add it to it. I'm going to turn this one off. And I'll do the same for this one with the ocean. And you're just going to go through and do this with each one of these. Activating the canvas by clicking inside on the image, grabbing the layer and dragging it across, and then closing out that canvas. So you don't end up dragging in doubles by accident, which can be very easy to do inside of Photoshop. Alright, now once you're done, you may have something that looks like this, and it may not. The reason mine looks this way is because of where I drag my images in and how I drag them in. But that's okay. The way it looks right now is not as significant. What you want to look at is over here where it says layers, and it should show a different image for each of these layers listed. A little thumbnail, each one should be different. If any look the same, then that probably means you accidentally grabbed and duplicated a layer into this document by accident. And that's okay. You just go in here to your layer stack, and you can actually delete it if you want to by selecting it and hitting the delete key. Or you can click and drag it and drop it over this little trash can down here at the base of the layer panel. Don't try to drag it into the trash can on your dock. That does not work with the Photoshop interface. That is for your Mac interface only. But the one inside the software is the one we want. Okay. And if you have to do that where you have to delete a layer that you accidentally opened two of and you're missing one still, you may have to go back and go to File and Open and then find the image that you did not open up into Photoshop or did not add to your new canvas that should be in your layer stack. Alright. So now we've added new images to our layer stack. We are basically ready to go. The last step that I will recommend that you do at this time is to go ahead and do something called renaming your layers. So what I'm going to do is look over here where it says like layer 4, layer 3, layer 2, layer 1, and background copy. Those are all basic default titles that Photoshop assigns to new images added to a canvas, unless they have a name of their own already. So we don't want to use that. Once you start using lots of images in a canvas, it becomes very difficult to understand how to keep things organized and where to find specific image parts. The most efficient way for naming inside of creative software is actually naming either what it's used for that part of that image, or what it actually looks like. So in our case, we're going to name what it looks like. And professionally, it's also good for renaming as well, in case you have to revisit this file later or give it to someone else to finish off work on. So to change the name of a layer, you go to your layer panel and double click on the name with your mouse, and it should highlight and allow you to rename it. You type in the new name and hit return or enter, and then just keep going down the line, identifying each image. And I'm keeping these names as simple as I can. If I don't, it becomes too complex and I may not be able to read the whole title. So try to keep them to 1, maybe 2 words max. I'll even call the image of the person, person, to keep it simple. So we should have clouds, trees, water, rocks, and a person. And once you have all that named, then you're good to go. From here, we're going to go ahead and also save our work to finish off the first the interface exercise. And that'll conclude our first part. So let's go ahead and File Save. So we'll go to File, Save As. And again, when you're saving work, you want to make sure that you're saving it properly to your own system on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and save it onto my desktop for now. And I'm going to make sure that my naming is still the same. And then I'm going to go down here, make sure that the location is set correctly. I'm going to send it to my desktop. Again, when you're working on files, try not to save them onto small portable drives, as those typically don't have enough space on them to save work and or have the file exchange rate for exchanging data and saving data to move fast enough. It could take a very long time, be slow, it could cause errors. So we don't want that to happen. Now I'm going to go down to Format, and I'm going to set the format. I shouldn't have to change it. It should automatically be set to Photoshop. This is the native file format, or what we would also call a master file for our project, for retaining all special effects, properties, layers that we've worked with in Photoshop. That's all contained in this file type, and we want that. We don't need to mess with the checkboxes down below. These checkboxes typically save different information. We do want this layer should be checked, and color should be set to embed color profile. After we've done that, then we're good to hit save. You might get a pop-up that says Photoshop Format Options Maximize Compatibility. This is good to leave activated. Of course, you may not want to read it over and over again, so you may want to click the little checkbox that says Don't Show Again. That way it doesn't keep popping up on you every time. After that, you can click OK. Your document will save and show you progress up there. And now your work is saved. And that is all that you need to do for working with the Photoshop Interface Exercise 1 as far as completion of it. It should just be arranging and working and getting your getting your images into a new canvas as a very basic introductory step to getting your project underway. All right, so I hope you've learned something from this new exercise. And next time, in exercise 2, we will look at specific Photoshop tools, operations, and panels for aiding in the editing process. Until then, continue working on your own projects. If you have questions, you can email me directly, or you can also don't forget to use things like the helps or watch these videos and review them at your own pace to complete the assignment. Take care, and we'll talk next time.